Hai, salam sejahtera. Agenda awal ni akan dihostkan saya, Cynthia dan topik untuk malam ni yang berkenaan dengan belia. Dan jika anda dalam lingkungan umur 22 hingga 35 tahun dan anda mempunyai idea yang bernas atau projek atau penyelidikan yang mahu diperkembangkan tapi mungkin mengalami sedikit kekangan dari segi dana, anda sekarang boleh merealisasikan impian tersebut kerana kita akan memperkenalkan satu geran iaitu Geran Anugerah Merdeka, dan antaranya geran tersebut akan memberi peluang kepada mereka yang layak untuk mendapatkan pengalaman untuk membuat projek atau kolaborasi dengan institusi-institusi di luar negara untuk beberapa bulan. Dan untuk bercerita dengan lebih menyeluruh apakah geran ini, bagaimana apply dan apakah kriteria-kriterianya, saya di studio ditemani dengan dua orang wakil dari Merdeka Award Secretariat. Tapi sebelum itu, izinkan saya meneruskan rancangan ini dalam bahasa Inggeris. I would like to welcome, next to me is Miss Rowina Ghazali. She is the Director Government Relations from Shell Malaysia, and next to her we have Mr. Joseph Edwin. He's the Executive Director of the Merdeka Award Secretariat. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Now, this Merdeka Award International Attachment Grant, that is the name, and is indeed one golden opportunity for young individuals to pursue their idea to bring them to the next level. But before we go into the nitty-gritty and how do you apply for this and what are the selection criteria, perhaps Rowina could share with us about the Merdeka Award itself, and because this grant is based upon the Merdeka Award, and what are the ideas and philosophy behind Merdeka Award?
Well, the nation has had independence for more than 50 years, and we wouldn't have had that if it's not for the spirit of commitment and sacrifice and determination of individuals, Malaysians or non-Malaysians, who participated in this journey. So the Merdeka Awards itself tries to capture that spirit in the awards that they give out to people who earn this recognition. And that is the context of the Merdeka Awards. The Merdeka Awards grants then sit within that scope of that philosophy, and it is to give individuals the opportunity to further their dream by pursuing the field or the area of expertise in a reputable institution. Perhaps Joe might want to elaborate more on the grants.
Merdeka Award started in 2007, I believe, and it's only been 5 years, and you are taking quite a great stride forward to introduce this grant. And it's been 5 years old. I mean, the Merdeka Award is 5 years old now. What are some of the significant milestones that the award has achieved so far?
Since we started in 2007, the Merdeka Award has given the award to two organizations and 15 individuals. So we've come quite a bit, although we are still a very young award compared to the Nobel Prize with which we are benchmarked against. I think every year we try to look for more and more people to recognize and reward excellence.
And in what are some of the areas that the Merdeka Award is looking at?
The categories that the Merdeka Award gives the award out to are what we think are important for a developing country like Malaysia, and these are the areas they include areas like education and community service, environment, health, science, technology, scholastic achievement, which is basically an award for doing great research, and finally there is also a category that recognizes outstanding work done for Malaysia by non-Malaysians, foreigners.
Well, if you look, I was reading about the Merdeka Award, and what's interesting I see is that it is founded by 3 corporate companies, which is Petronas, ExxonMobil and Shell. And we usually see corporate companies come up with awards like top entrepreneurs, best business leaders, top CEOs, and this is quite a unique platform that you guys are doing to recognize individuals on a wide range of issues, like you mentioned, environment, science and technology. And could you perhaps tell us what do you see are the benefits of a corporate initiative driving this initiative?
Well, Shell, I'll speak for Shell. Shell's been in the country for 120 years. I mean, we've seen the development of the nation from the time when we ourselves were just a kerosene seller, and now we're an integrated petroleum organization. And we've always seen ourselves as the partner of progress for Malaysia. And we've got 90% of our 6,400 people who are Malaysians. And some of them have gone on overseas assignments, for instance. Now, these are Malaysians working outside the country. And you've seen some individuals from Shell who've now become corporate leaders or national leaders. And this is how we see ourselves contributing to the development of the country, even though we may be a foreign investor. We consider ourselves a Malaysian company, and it fits then with what the Merdeka Awards strive to achieve, which is to recognize Malaysians and getting them to come out of the box and think about big things, because we can do it. And this fits perfectly with our people development program.
I think if I may add to what Rowina is saying, for the three companies, it's not so much about what they get, but about what they can give. Because the Merdeka Award is about giving back to society for the three companies.
So well, if I like to draw a comparison to Nobel Prize, this seems like a smaller localized version of the Nobel Prize. And you see that Nobel Prize recognitions are given across multidisciplines, from science, from medicine to physics to literature, and even peace, the Nobel Peace Prize as well. Is the Merdeka Awards looking towards this holistic direction?
When we first set up the award in 2007, the year before that, some of us from Petronas, ExxonMobil and Shell, we went to Sweden to talk with people from the Nobel Prize. And we came back and set up this award. And the award is not while it's benchmarked versus the Nobel Prize, it doesn't follow the same criteria and categories, because we have our own needs and requirements for this country. So we tailored it according to what we think we can do here. So it's a little bit different.
Well, that brings me to my next question. What kind of impact do you hope like awards like the Merdeka Awards have the impact to the masses? Because I mean, it's like it seems to be very prestigious, but on a bigger scale, what do you hope to achieve from this award?
The philosophy of the Merdeka Award is essentially to inspire young people by the recognition of those who have achieved excellence and those who have done a whole body of work over a period of time. So our goal largely is to inspire as many Malaysians as we can to pursue excellence.
Right. I will need to go for the first commercial break first, but when we come back, we will talk about how you can go about applying this grant, and maybe you can share some tips on how you can actually go about winning it as well. We'll go for a short break and we'll be back very shortly, so stay with us.
Aksi sukan sebenar hanya dengan Maxis. Dapatkan pakej SMS Maxis Football dengan hanya RM1. 9 selebriti berjuang.
Kau tak ada mangkuk!
Tak pernah makan langsung.
Untuk kepusingan seterusnya.
Kecil dah kau buatlah macam kat rumah kau sendiri, apa lagi kita.
Penuh drama dan aksi.
Datuk Fazli dan Farouk, belum tanggalkan apron anda.
Hanya yang terbaik akan terus marah. MasterChef Celebrity Malaysia. Sabtu hingga Selasa di ASTRO Ria dan ASTRO Mustika HD.
Penaja utama MasterChef Celebrity, Cooking Magic daripada Panasonic. Untuk masakan lebih enak dan mudah. Tajan bersama kad kredit Hong Leong Bank.
Gala TV membawakan kepada anda secara langsung setiap hari. Gala TV, buletin hiburan tempatan dan antarabangsa, memaparkan perkembangan muzik, filem, teater, fashion, temu bual eksklusif. Gala TV secara langsung setiap hari di ASTRO Awani, berita segenap dimensi.
Hi, welcome back. We are talking to two representatives from the Merdeka Awards because they will be offering this international attachment grant which allows young individuals to pursue their ideas and their projects at institutions outside of the country. And before I go into what they need to do to apply for this award, I want just to get your thoughts on the young in this country. You have this prestigious award, and how do you see the younger generation can tap into this award and benefit the country on a longer term? Rowina.
Well, we're dealing with a different generation, so maybe I should speak for myself, not Joe. Joe's a young man. So we see a difference in the way the generation sees the world, and I think technology has something to do with it. But there's also a philosophy around how the young look at how they acquire knowledge and what they even define as knowledge. And the traditional, at least for Malaysia, what is traditional about education is being doctors and lawyers and architects. And now, if you look at the world, the occupation that you see people putting down on forms, for instance, are no longer those traditional. They still have them, but they're also, shoemakers whom we know have been successful, people who've gone into sports, people who are into food. And what we want to tell the younger generation here in this country is that you can expand, you can go out and be good in things that are non-traditional.
Yeah, I believe we have very talented young Malaysians, good ideas, but if I may say something, that younger Malaysians, they have this perception that we have to gauge our excellence according to the Western standards, that we are not good enough for certain awards because it's just too prestigious for us. What do you think about that? How do we step away from that mentality?
I agree with what Rowina is saying, that I think we have lots of very good talents among young Malaysians today, and if all they need is for an award like this to encourage that confidence in them to step up to apply, which is why we introduced this grant. The Merdeka Award itself, by nature of the award, is generally given to someone who's a little bit older because you need to amass a body of work. So we were thinking, how can we reach out to more young people, and hence we came up with the idea of introducing this grant. And we feel that the recipients of this grant this year and the following years may be able to be mentored by Merdeka Award winners if they happen to sort of pursue the same field as some of our past recipients. So in that way, there's a link between the younger generation and those who have achieved a body of work.
Right. If I would take a look at one of the winners for last year, Dr. Kenneth Young, he's the architect who won in last year's environment category. He has been widely regarded as an architect that is ahead of his time. He was able to foresee the global warming and how he can incorporate things, eco-friendly buildings, eco-friendly infrastructures into the current architecture. But looking at young Malaysians today, do we have such challenges now to foresee the challenges in the future and we start working on it from now?
Definitely. I think that's where we need to make aware in our children and the young that you can get to be a famous architect, you can get to be a famous singer, for instance. I think we've grown up, and I'm guilty of that, grown up in an environment where we think this can't happen to us. It can only happen to someone else, and if it happened to someone else, it's because he's special. So I want to try and break away from this. If the Germans can come up with engineering and have breakthrough engineering for the most efficient cars, why can't we do it? I think the nation is trying to do this and trying to get our young to think beyond what has been traditional. Again, it goes back to what is tradition, and we're only 50 years old, so we've got a lot of catching up to do.
Joe, what do you think that some of the ways we could move forward to elevate ourselves to the next level?
Yeah, a while ago, the Merdeka Award has an initiative called the Merdeka Award Roundtable, which is a TV talk show that we do in partnership with ASTRO. And the most recent one, we invited Dato' Ken to participate in this award. And the topic was the topic was competing globally. How can we as Malaysians compete more effective globally? And one of the things Dato' Ken said, which I agree, is really it's an issue of confidence. We need to build more confidence in our people that we can step up in the global arena and compete more effectively.
Right, and
because we have what it takes.
Yeah, we do have what it takes. And I believe this grant that you will be offering is one of the ways that we could go towards that direction. And
Absolutely.
Perhaps Rowina could tell us a bit more about this grant and what are some of the selection criteria that you're looking at and how do you go about to apply it?
Well, the eligibility first is the age. So the only discrimination about this grant is the age. And if we weren't employed by our sponsoring companies, Joe and I would have been able to apply for it, right? Because you're 22 and I'm 35. So that's the discriminating factor. But apart from that, if it's academic, you would necessarily have to have a master's or an equivalent degree. If it's non-academic, it would have to be someone who has accomplished some professional accomplishments. Is that right, Joe?
That's right.
So that would be the other one. And when you apply, we'll get to the specifics of that, but the application process asks for what you wish to achieve with the grants. And so then a business case would come in. So it's a bit like, without going into the details now, but the application is a bit like asking for a job.
Right.
You know, how
more
do you
like
then
an
market?
internship, I believe.
Yes.
It's a 3-month
Right, an
program.
internship, correct.
Okay. Well, I need to take the discussion to the last commercial break, but we'll be back very shortly so that Rowina and Joe could explain to us more how exactly could you go about to apply, and also Vining, perhaps you can give us some tips on the potential applicants here. Well, stay with us. We'll be back very shortly.
Fiesta Singa kembali lagi. Pelbagai hadiah percuma eksklusif. Tukar beli sehingga RM500. Produk unggul Singa. Lebih nilai, lebih gembira. Kunjungi cawangan Singa hari ini.
Mencipta ruang hidup yang sempurna. Lorenzo, living starts here.
After 3 rounds of battles, the Warriors come a step closer to greatness. The UEFA Euro 2012 quarterfinals. England versus Italy. All live, all in HD, only on Astro Supersport.
The coverage of the UEFA Euro 2012 on Astro is brought to you by Maxis, main broadcast sponsor. Co-sponsored by Sharp and Power Route. Supported by Coca-Cola, Post Malaysia and Castrol.
Sabtu, Astro Awani membawakan Sukan Awani Extra bersama Fazri Haziz, memaparkan isu sukan tempatan dan antarabangsa, mengupas kejayaan atlet-atlet dalam dan luar negara, dan juga paparan khas aktiviti sukan dunia. Sukan Awani Extra, Sabtu 3.30 petang di Astro Awani. Berita segenap dimensi.
Welcome back. We are on the topic of the Merdeka Award International Attachment Grant. And what is this and how we can go about applying this, well, I would like to go to Joe to perhaps first tell us what are the requirements. Earlier, Rowina talked a bit about the eligibility. Perhaps you could share with us a bit more.
Yeah, thank you, Cynthia. What we're looking for essentially is a young person who's already involved in something exciting, and the grant offers this person a great opportunity to go abroad in his or her field and to get the kind of experience and exposure that otherwise this person won't be able to experience. So that's what the grant is offering.
Okay, so will there be certain selected hosts or institutions that has been identified for this award or this grant?
So when the applicant applies, he or she could recommend an institution.
Right, okay.
But whether or not the person gets into that institution will be subject to what that institution allows. So you still have to meet the eligibility of that institution.
Of the host institution.
Yep,
yes.
and if the applicant doesn't, then the Merdeka Award grants would help that person. So we would find a match.
Yeah. Okay,
what the person's pursuing and which institution would be appropriate.
And what are some of the categories are you looking at for this grant?
The categories generally follow the Merdeka Award categories. However, they are really broad because we have people who have already applied for fields like robotics and so on, which are not your traditional fields, but they come under the education and community service categories. It's a very broad category that includes the arts and the visual arts, the performing arts, and sports, and all kinds of things. Really, we try to make it as broad as possible.
Well, I mean, it does seem like basically anything, right? Yeah. So, I mean, for example, let's say if we see a lot of young people lately, they're running a lot of NGOs, social entrepreneurship programs, and that covers areas like volunteerism, student leadership. Would they be able to benefit from this grant? And what does it? What is there a certain? You mentioned academic criteria, right? But if they do not have the academic criteria, what are some of the other things that they need?
So the broad categories are, as Joe said, it's education and community, environment, health, science and technology. So those are the categories. But within these categories, you could go for sports, for instance, which would hook into a community category. You could go for academics that might fit in environment. So you find a match. So what we're trying to say is there are categories that fit within the umbrella of the Merdeka Awards category, but within that you could be anything. So if you are, insightful enough to connect your area of interest or expertise to one of those 5 categories, then you're already eligible.
Okay, and what will the grant cover? The expenses, and what is the value of it? Is there a value at the moment?
It's difficult to say the value because it depends on what you are applying for and where you want to go. So, and which host institution you want to be attached to. So that would determine the final amount that will be required. But what we are saying is, because of the influence of the founding members of the Merdeka Award, the 3 oil and gas companies, we're going to try and arrange for you to go wherever you want to go in the world to a really reputable institution.
Okay, so now going to the details. So how can you do it? How can you start applying for this? Is this application is now open, right?
Application has been open since late May, and the closing date is August 31st. And we all applications are done through the Merdeka Award website, which is www.merdekaaward.my, not com but my.
All right. So what are some of the steps that has to be taken?
It's a relatively easy application process. It would take you not more than 10 minutes to actually apply if you have all the supporting documents ready. One of the things I want to highlight is we ask applicants to send in a short essay of less than 1,000 words detailing the kind of things that they want to do, the research work they want to take, the people they want to meet. And this proposal is important because when we evaluate all the submissions, we will look at how exciting, how different, how original, how impactful these proposals are. So the proposal is actually quite important. The essay is quite important. We just want to it'll give us an idea of the thinking of the applicant and what is it that they want to achieve.
And that is application process. After that, do you have another round of selection or interviews perhaps?
Yeah.
Yes, you do. So there will be a selection process, and we will draw down the number of applicants to 3.
3, okay.
And
For each category or in total?
It's 3 absolute, so it's
Right.
3 applicants. And from 3, we will call them in, the 3 applicants will be called in, and we will interview them. And then we will make the final selection for just that one.
Okay.
So for this year, it's just 1. For subsequent years, it will be 2.
Okay, and will the grant recipient be required to be bonded to Merdeka Award, and what do they have to do after the attachment?
There is no real bond, but because we want the recipient to inspire other young Malaysians and future Merdeka Award grant recipients, we would ask them to participate in like some speaking engagements, maybe maintaining a blog, and basically what we want them to do is to share their experience abroad with other Malaysians and inspire them.
Okay, and this award is also open to Malaysians living abroad as well, or is it just Malaysians living?
It is. It's open to all Malaysians, both in and outside the country.
Okay, perhaps my final question would be, during the, let's say, if you are selected for the the final 3, and what is the criteria that are you looking at? What is the X factor that you're looking at, perhaps, for you to go on this attachment?
I'm not sure if there is an X factor, but we're looking for somebody who can present. We're not just looking for a good proposal, but someone who can also present his or her ideas very clearly. So
because
that would be important.
This person will also be representing Malaysia abroad during the attachment.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. Well, if you're interested, please do check out this website where you can apply. It's called, the website is www.merdekaaward.my. And well, thank you so much, Rowina, and thank you, Joe, for spending time to explain to us about this grant. And terima kasih kepada anda kerana menonton agenda awal ini. Dan jika anda ada sebarang cadangan atau pandangan, sila hantarkan ke Facebook atau Twitter Astro Awani, atau boleh email kami di awaninews@astro.com.my. Sekian sahaja agenda awal ini untuk malam ini. Saya Cynthia Ng dan salam hormat. Thank you, Rowina.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you.